Vinyl Collection Part 27. Finishing up the L's and starting the M's within this part. I know it's been a hot minute since the last inclusion, but I do want to say thank you to a lot of you guys who give me positive feedback within this series. It definitely helps motivate me to continue on within this series, because a lot of you guys seem to be anticipating each part for what is within the shelves of my vinyl collection. As well, too, I've seen one of you guys has made their own playlist of every single record I've talked about thus far, updating it. I think it stands at like 380 records thus far. That's absolutely insane. And it just feels like, you know, you guys actually give a shit about what I talk about within this series. As well, too, just a friendly reminder that my Bethlehem box set giveaway is obviously still up. As of right now, I think 8 or 9 people have entered it, so it's really cool to see all the participation. And as well, too, the giveaway will end September 1st, so you guys still have a 3-week time span to put in a video response for it. And finally, what's going to be playing in the background is the debut album by Celestial Bloodshed, Curse, Scarred, and Forever Possessed. One of my personal favorite Norwegian black metal bands that formed after the turn of the millennium. And it's just mayhem worship, and it's just done so well. I mean, come on, that cover photo right there just screams dead worship. And thankfully, I know Territar Possessions has done a repress for this, and you can get this right now on Vaughn Records. Kicking off this part is going to be LowCityRain with the self-titled debut album. This is the side project of Marcus from Lantlos. This is his take on shoegaze, new wave type of a blend here that is just so good, and it sucks that this is the only thing he's ever done for it, as it was released back in 2013, and that's it. It's like a one and done deal, but God, this album is just so gorgeous of an album. As I stated, it's a blend of shoegaze and new wave. Yet at the same time, I really feel like it can appeal to metal fans because the guitar playing and melodies, especially within this, are very upbeat. It's nothing like, you know, lackluster. It just feels like it's, you know, melodies for the background type of filling up space. It's very upbeat and infectious. The drumming on here especially is very thick and dense, but nothing overbearing. That again, it just like, it appeals to metal fans with all these little features when you pick them out. Tracks on here like Grave View, I Don't Know Myself, which is my personal favorite track, and You Are Everyone, You Are Everywhere has a guest spot of a girl singing, and is just so gorgeous. But yeah, again, if you're a Lantlos fan, you'll absolutely adore this album, and it's still available on Prophecy. This is actually, believe it or not, a really easy album to get, which I'm surprised. I thought it would have been long gone sold out, especially to all the Lantlos fans that buy up all of Marcus's stuff. But anyway, for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork of this girl that basically this girl is like on every single part of the album, which I'll show in a sec. So again, album artwork, backside with the track listings, and once again of that girl. Comes on a gatefold. It also includes an A2 poster, as you would guess, of the girl with the band logo on top. Comes on a standard black vinyl along with a printed inner sleeve of side 1 and side 2. Finishing up the L's is going to be Lurker of Chalice. For the longest time, this was nearly impossible to obtain, because I remember it only had like, I think 1 or 2 presses put up through Southern Lord, and those went for just dumb money. Like, you would have to shovel out like probably 200 bucks on Discogs if you wanted to get an LP pressing of this. But I remember all the hype this pressing got when Nuclear War Now announced that they would do represses and made it easier to get, and thankfully they're still widely available on Nuclear War Now, and I had to jump on it because for a lot of people who are watching this, obviously if you know who Jeff Whitehead is, whose main project is Leviathan, you more than likely know Lurker of Chalice. As, yeah, the styles are very similar to it. Again, obviously they're both black metal projects, but I would say Lurker of Chalice, you can arguably say, has like maybe some of Jeff Whitehead's best material he's ever wrote, as a lot of fans argue that fact. There's elements of doom metal on here, some death metal moments when it gets to the aggressive parts, but it's just, again, another very miserable, emotive black metal album that's just really easy to get consumed by. that is definitely a heavy hitter that gets a lot of praise, and it deserves a lot of it too. So I would say it's one of those albums that lives up to all the hype that people give it. But yeah, if you want to get this, thankfully now, Nuclear War Now still carries copies widely available. But this is obviously, as I stated, the Nuclear War Now repress, and it's a bit different from the first presses. I think the color variation of the statue, as you can see, has more of a brown tinge to it. In the first presses has more of like a bluish gray to it. But really cool with the foil stamp right there with the band logo, which is pretty neat. Then you have the backside with more artwork. Comes on a gatefold. It also includes an A2 poster. It's on a double LP, and this vinyl edition comes, I believe, like on Beer Swirl, I believe, limited to 300 copies. At this point, we have reached the M's within my vinyl collection. Starting off is going to be Macabre Omen, The Ancient Returns. About a year ago, I made a list of my top 25 all-time favorite black metal albums, and this was in that list because, as I stated, it's just basically epic, climactic battle music from start to finish. Like, every moment of this album is so glorious that I feel like if gladiators during ancient Rome and ancient Greece had the ability to listen to black metal, they'd be jamming out to Macabre Omen. Because tracks on here like A Call from Gods to God, An Ode to Road, the perfect sound of North versus South is just, it is so good. There's nothing negative I can say about it. That, yeah, at times you could say it takes a lot of influence from Bathory, what Porthon did with Bathory back in the late 80s. But, God, Alexandros, the guy behind Macabre Omen, it just is such a mastermind when it comes to writing riffs. That, yeah, you could say it has elements of traditional heavy metal, but there's a lot of bite and kick to just the aggression being played out here. That it's epic, it's melodic, but it just feels so aggressive and just, like, again, something a gladiator would listen to. It's just so good, so good, that if you're a fan of just ass-kicking melodic riffs, you'll definitely find a lot of enjoyment with Macabre Omen. I'm not really sure, however, if this is still available. I know it was put out through Vaughn Records, so if you want to get this, best bet is to check out that label and see if they still have copies available there. As for the layout and packaging, however, like always when it comes to Vaughn Records, they always do like a little extra with the layout and packaging. So I really like the gold stamp they got with the band logo right here on the album artwork. Backside, which once again it has like that gold stamping with the track titles on the back, which is really neat. Comes with a big ass booklet with lyrics and artwork to go along inside. The variant I got is just on standard black, but also has a printed inner sleeve with Alexandros on one side and credits on the other. It wouldn't be about until a decade later until we would get the follow-up album by Macabre Omen, that being Gods of War at War. Holy hell, did Alexandros really expand upon the songwriting with this album, as it comes off more atmospheric, a bit more experimental in some cases as there's clean singing going on here. The guitar playing isn't just so black metal, or hell, even that metal fueled during some parts. It has more of like a classical edge to it to really give off that grandiose sound that Macabre Omen has just really mastered within the discography of this project. Tracks on here like I See the Sea, the title track, Man of 300 Voices, From Son to Father. It's just so prideful, epic black metal that, again, as I stated before, it's like stuff that gladiators would listen to if they wanted to get into black metal. And even though I still do prefer the debut album, The Ancient Returns, to Gods of War, I feel like if you want to get into Macabre Omen, Gods of War at War is the place to start, just because of how much it expands upon the sound. There isn't, again, no dull moment within this album, as I believe it goes past like the hour-long mark. But yeah, Macabre Omen, you can't do any wrong with it. Sadly, this is long gone out of print, because I got my copy the day of its release on Hell's Headbangers, and now I think it's going on Discogs for like an inflated price, so hopefully Vaughn Records does a repress of this real soon. But yeah, as for the layout and packaging, and again, like always, since it's a Vaughn record, it comes with a lot of goodies. So you have album artwork, backside with the track listings. Again, comes with a big-ass booklet with lyrics and artwork to go along inside, and I love the photography on this. That is just absolutely gorgeous photography in each picture within the booklet. As for the vinyl bearing, it just comes on standard black vinyl along with printed inner sleeves. That's just black on one side. Credits on the other, same deal with this, just black on one side. More credits, and one thing that's really interesting to kind of explain why there was like a decade-long gap in between this and the previous album is that he states that it was in the making for a decade and he wanted nothing but the absolute best when recording this album. The notes right here, which is quite interesting, just showcases how dedicated Alexandros is when it comes to Macabre Omen. The final record I have by Macabre Omen is the latest EP, that being Anamnesis. Sadly, this isn't the long-awaited third full-length that we're all waiting for with Macabre Omen. This overall is compiled of unreleased tracks and demo takes, rehearsal takes of tracks from the past by Macabre Omen, all demo releases, which is quite interesting and hard obtainable stuff. But yeah, to be a Macabre Omen kind of like junkie, I had to get it because, again, LPs by Macabre Omen are usually quite difficult to get, but thankfully this one's still in print, again put up through Vaughn Records, and I've seen copies float around on Hell's Headbangers, Nuclear War Now, Osmos, you know, all the big names. So yeah, there's really no reason not to check out and get even more of this band's work. But as for the layout and packaging, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings. Comes with an insert sheet with credits all on one side, artwork, and a passageway in a different language that I can't read on the other. It also includes another big-ass booklet with lyrics and artwork and kind of photography of old photos of Macabre Omen inside, which is pretty neat. And the LP variant I got is just on standard black. Up next is Maenad Veyl, Body Count. This is just really dark, dismal, and heavy industrial techno music that I feel like the best way to describe it is, think of the soundtrack to the crime drama TV series Miami Vice that was done in the 1980s, but it was written by Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails. That is the best way to describe Maenad Veyl, because these songs, again, are just so infectious but just so dark and dismal that, again, I feel like it could also appeal to metal fans because the percussions are just so thick that it sounds like metal smacking against metal, honestly. Tracks on here like Bleak, The Advisorer, They Belong with the Others, From Body to Body, and Silent Blood. Really killer stuff that definitely play quite a lot. That, again, I'm not really that much into industrial and techno music, but if anything sounds similar to this, I'm all ears for it because this shit is awesome. Definitely check out. But yeah, anyways, for the layout and packaging, right here you got this very creepy looking artwork, backside with all the track listings, and just double LP, again, plain black vinyl. Then I have Magdalene, Ju-Nen. This is the debut album by this doom metal band from China, I believe. And yes, calling myself out, as you can see with the Obi strip, this is put out through Go to Warx, that I will admit as well too, I bought it as a blind buy when I was getting into the label. And yeah, over the years I've kind of sold here and there some Go to Warx releases that I blind bought, but this one I've always kept because even though, again, I'm not really crazy for doom metal, I don't have any doom metal records within my collection, this one just always felt satisfying to listen to. I don't know if it's like the singing done by the woman that's very just, you know, silky clean, that just kind of flows with the very heavy riffs that are really simplistic. There's just something about it that is just calming. I don't know. Again, I'm kind of a noob when it comes to doom metal, but yeah, Magdalene, Ju-Nen, really enjoyed the debut album right here. Anyway, for the layout and packaging, it's pretty bare bones since this was released about back in 2015 or 16. So you have album artwork, backside with the track listings. Comes with an insert sheet with a band photo and lyrics on each side, nothing on the other side. And it just comes on a standard black vinyl limited to 115 copies. I also have the Sophomore album by Magdalene, Ju-Nen, that I was pretty hyped for this album considering my enjoyment with the debut album, and I knew I would get this album with ease considering the fact that whatever wave Go to Warx did with the Sophomore album by Magdalene, Ju-Nen, everyone would be so focused on the black metal releases that this was an easy grab to get, and I'm pretty sure it's still available. But I've noticed with this album, they've gone a little bit more psychotic and psychedelic sounding here. That's a bit darker, But again, I just, maybe, again, I can't really explain it. There's something about their songwriting. I don't know if it's like the kind of like Chinese aesthetic that kind of intertwine with the guitar playing or the woman's vocals, but it's just really soothing and calming to me. And I don't know, really dig Magdalene Ju-Nen. I need to get their third album. I kind of slept on it and haven't gotten it yet. But yeah, if you want some really good kind of like shiny psychedelic doom metal, definitely check out Magdalene Ju-Nen. As for the layout and packaging, however, you have album artwork, backside with the band photo on the bottom of it, and this LP comes on blood red vinyl. After that, I have Magruder Grind with their self-titled release. It's a mixture of grindcore, power violence, and crust punk that is kind of like by the numbers for the most part, considering the fact that the album artwork is the really cliche, you know, clusterfuck of just images all put together for the fuck of it. Like, I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing that's gonna really wow anyone that likes grindcore or power violence, but it's just an overall fun listen. Plus, I think I got this at Armageddon for like under $10, which was the real selling point on here. But yeah, I mean, I can't state it enough. It's just by the book, grindcore power violence. But yeah, pretty easy to get online if you want to get it. So other than that, for the layout and packaging, you have the clusterfuck right here with this album artwork, backside with all the track listings. Comes with an insert sheet with credits on one side and lyrics on the other. And this LP edition comes on lime green marble. Then I have Maleficent, Night of Eternal Darkness. I've actually showed this in about maybe a couple of parts ago when I announced what would be playing in the background. And as you can obviously tell with the album artwork, it's black metal that is nothing groundbreaking or reinventing the wheel, as it's just really just a black metal album that obviously takes a lot of influence from bands of the past, such as the Les Legions Noir and Judas Iscariot, but the songwriting is just really solid, that if you enjoy, again, like raw black metal with just solid riffs, you'll definitely enjoy Maleficent. And I found out about this because so many people on my Facebook were just sharing this album non-stop, and after finally giving into the all the hype, fairly impressed enough to get it, obviously. And yeah, again, if you enjoy Judas Iscariot especially, you'll find a bit of enjoyment with Maleficent, but just a bit more on the raw side of it. But other than that, I'm pretty sure you can still get this copy through Asrar is where I got mine, so if you want them, go there. For the layout packaging, however, you have album artwork, backside. Comes on a standard black vinyl along with an insert sheet with lyrics on one side and credits on the other. Alright, next up is going to be the Sophomore album by Malokarpathan. This is a metal band that blends first wave black metal and a strong usage of that of traditional heavy metal and speed metal together, and god, this album is so fucking infectious that if you are a fan of Master's Hammer, you are absolutely going to love this record right here, because the riffs, oh my god, are so good on this album. I'd love to tell you which tracks they are, but they're all in Slovakian, so there's no way I can pronounce this, but again, I can't stress it enough. If you're a fan of Master's Hammer or first wave black metal, you are going to find a lot of enjoyment with this band, especially the Sophomore album that I always have trouble pronouncing, but I'm pretty sure it's Nordkarpathan. Hopefully I'm saying that somewhat right. God, man, you gotta get this record. It's put out through Invictus Records. They carry loads of copies. I got mine for like $10, and it's just so worth it. And one thing that's quite interesting about them is, even though when it comes to the metal aspect about them, where they take such obvious influence from the first two albums of Master's Hammer, they kind of intertwine their kind of like Slovakian type of aesthetic, because there's like these folk interlude parts within it that gives them like their own aura and essence within the metal scene. That's truly something quite unique for this style of, like, you know, blending black metal and traditional heavy metal together. So really killer stuff. Anyway, as for the layout and packaging with this album, you have album artwork, backside with band photo and track listings. Comes with the lyric sheet on both sides, and it's just on standard black vinyl. As well too, I have their follow-up album that was released in 2020. This is the third full length by Macabre Omen, which I can't pronounce. But yeah, this actually made it onto my end of the year list for 2020. I don't know exactly where I put it. But again, another solid release by them. I still prefer their Sophomore album that I think is the best of the 3 albums they've done. And I don't have the debut album because the mixing and mastering on it is kind of rough around the edges and doesn't really complement the riffs within that album. But maybe one day I'll get it. The 3rd album, however, right here, there really isn't much black metal being utilized here besides some vocals here and there. But for the most part, there's more of like this traditional speed metal type of approach, and they focus more on the Slovakian aesthetic because there's way more usage of folk and experimentation on this album that makes it, again, another interesting listen if you are a fan of, again, first wave black metal and speed metal. If that appeals to you, you'll definitely enjoy Malokarpathan for the most part. But yeah, again, even with the band photo, which is really similar to that of what Master's Hammer did with their band photos of just like being on like a really leaf-covered hill, they really make it known and obvious that they take influence again from Master's Hammer. But yeah, this one's pretty easy to get. Again, put out through Invictus Records, so if you want anything by Malokarpathan, go to Invictus. As for the layout and packaging, however, you have album artwork, backside with track listings, and once again of the band photo. Comes on a gatefold. And I got the limited vinyl edition of this album that comes on Pumpkin Orange, limited to 300 copies. Finishing up within this vinyl collection part is going to be Mamaleek, Come and See. This is their latest album that was released last year. And man, I need to get more by Mamaleek, because out of all the metal bands that I know, from the extreme ones to the traditional ones, Mamaleek is easily one of the most boundary pushing out of all of them. Because the styles and songwritings that they do for metal is stuff that I just truly never thought this genre is capable of sounding like. Because I know their debut album, Fever Dream, it's a mixture of black metal and shoegaze, but whereas most bands go for the more blissful, surreal sense of this style and sound, Fever Dream is like nightmare fuel for black gaze. I never thought it could sound like it's truly something unique. And their album previous to Come and See, which I believe is, what was it, Out of Time, I think is the name of it. It's like they blend black metal and trip hop together. It's just so weird, but just so cool at the same time. Just, Mamaleek, you guys need to check it out, because not enough people talk about them. But Come and See right here is really where they have more of this kind of like droney jazz black metal sound. Again, it's very unorthodox. It's not really stuff that I expect a lot of people to like love if you're like the purebred black metal fan. But if you're always looking for something different for your musical listenings, Mamaleek is definitely one of those like really weird unorthodox bands that I really can't compare them to anyone, because they're just truly one of a kind, whether that's either good or bad. But yeah, hopefully I can expand upon my collection with them real soon. It's put out through the Flenser, and I know the Flenser for the most part has like the later records they've done, but I want to get their first 2 albums, because that's truly where I feel like they out-weird the listener. But yeah, if you want to get this, go to the Flenser if you want to get some Mamaleek merch. As for the layout and packaging with this album, you have album artwork, backside with the track listings. Comes with an insert sheet. One side is just blank with orange, and the other side has all the lyrics on it. And this LP edition comes on red vinyl. The last 2 records for this vinyl collection part are going to be by Manilla Road. First one up is Crystal Logic. I don't really feel like I need to waste my breath talking about this album, as I feel like everyone who enjoys traditional heavy metal knows of this. And if you know Manilla Road, you obviously know them mostly for Crystal Logic, as it's the fan favorite. Tracks on here are like Necropolis, which is my personal favorite track, Crystal Logic, Feeling Free Again, The Riddle Master, and Flaming Metal System. It's just killer traditional heavy metal that blends power metal that can be considered epic heavy metal. Regardless, you've all heard of it and you all love it for the most part, so I'm not really going to waste my time discussing this album and its history. But anyway, for the layout and packaging, it was put out through High Roller Records, so if you want it, go there. You have album artwork, backside with the track listings. Comes with an insert sheet with lyrics on one side and band photo on the other. And this LP edition comes on a kind of like purple lavender color. And the final record for this final collection part is once again Manilla Road, that being Mystification. For the time being, I only have 2 records by Manilla Road, but at some point I'll definitely get more because High Roller Records always keeps these albums by Manilla Road in print, so really not in any kind of a rush to get them for the time being. But yeah, out of all the records that Manilla Road did in the 1980s, as this was released in 1987, I would say Mystification is probably the heaviest out of all the Manilla Road records, as there's elements more of like speed metal popping up within this album. And just everything comes off a smidge more aggressive, but still has that very, you know, by the book, respected traditional heavy metal sound with elements, again, of power metal. Tracks on here like Spirits of the Dead, Valley of Unrest, and the title track are the standout moments for me personally on it. But yeah, again, you guys should all know this because Manilla Road is always talked about when talking again about traditional heavy metal. As for the layout and packaging, however, you have album artwork, backside with the track listing, and includes all the lyrics as well too. Comes on a standard black vinyl along with a little bit of like an insert card, again, of a band photo. Alright guys, that'll do it for this final collection part. Like always, I'll have links provided to everything I talked about in the description below, and that is that. So like always guys, make sure you guys drink plenty of water to stay hydrated, and have a great day.